Hey guys, Jed for Aussie Hunting, Fishing, Camping. A couple of weeks ago did myself a mischief, dropped a trailer on my foot, so I have been out of action, haven't been able to get out fishing or shooting. I'm only just walking again properly in the last couple of days. I've still been working but just hobbling around, not very mobile, so I've also had a few people asking a bit more about who I am, what I do, my farm, so I'm just gonna give you a bit of a look at my aim of self-sufficiency here, what we produce for ourselves. Yeah, we don't buy much meat. Fruit, we still buy a little bit because it's not always producing, but I've got probably 20 different varieties of fruits that we're growing here. This little block next to the packing shed, there's about 5 or 6 rows here. The guava, that's a curry leaf tree. Dates, I've got a few date palms, they're just starting to produce. They take a long time, about 10 years from seed. Got a nectarine and a peach up that end. They're low chill varieties, so they do get a little bit of fruit on them up in North Queensland here, but not very good. Figs, it's navel oranges, there's a grapefruit tree, there's a couple of nashi pears in there, there's pecan nuts. I've got 2 big pecan nut trees and then about 6 more little ones I just put in. This is a coffee, grow my own coffee. I've got a seedless lychee tree up that end. There's a fair few strange tropical fruits. There's an abiu, rollinia, soursop, jackfruit, a few different varieties of bananas, and then I've got 100 finger lime trees here, which I do grow commercially. Finger limes are a bit of an interesting citrus if you've never seen them before. They're citrusy taste, look a bit like a caviar, but they use them in desserts and drinks and stuff. I don't mind them in a beer actually. Apart from that, we've got about 40 chickens, mostly for eggs. We do meat chickens once a year, generally during winter when it's not too hot. They don't like the heat up here, but I'm not sure if we're going to do them this year. They're a bit of a odd animal, the meat variety of chickens. They're a hybrid, you can't grow them yourself, you need to crossbreed a lot of different varieties to get that particular type, and they're that weak that if you feed them as much as they want, they won't even be able to stand up. They'll just sit there and eat, and a few times when I've gone to kill them, they've been a bit stressed and flapping around, and they'll push the bones right out through their meat in their flesh. Yeah, that's how soft and weak they are. So they're not. I don't know. I don't know if we should be breeding them. They're not a real animal. Anyway, I've got 10 goats. Oh no, 8. I just butchered a couple. I've got 8 goats left at the moment. 10 sheep over in the paddock over here. 4 of them just brand new young ones. 3 cattle. Got 3 pigs in the pen here at the moment, but they're actually a guy that works for me. I got rid of all my pigs because every year when it's the wet season, this pen just turns into a slop hole. They're all hiding up the other end here at the moment where he's got some hay for them to keep them out of the mud. But also I get enough pork from the wild pigs that I shoot if I need pork. So yeah, but between that, I've also got red claw in the dam up here. Throw a couple of pots in, you'll get a dozen or 20 red claw overnight. So, and between that and the fishing, I haven't been out the reef for a while. I need to get out and get some more fish actually. The freezer's looking pretty low. But yeah, there's quite an array of hunted and grown meat in my freezer. We still buy a bit of chicken because the 25 a year that we grow doesn't keep us supplied. Family of 6, we eat quite a bit, and the wife does seem to like cooking chicken. It's one of the meats that I don't really think you should buy commercially. They're hormones and shit they put into it, and yeah, just also the fact that that variety is not a natural thing, and they're a bit of an oddity. I don't think they have any chance of surviving in the wild. To me, we shouldn't eat things which aren't natural. My animals are all pretty much organic, apart from the cows. I give them ivermectin twice a year, just for parasites. They get a lot of ticks if you don't. Probably worms as well, but the goats and the sheep don't seem to have any problems with worms. I do feed them pawpaws. My neighbour grows pawpaws, so now and then I'll get a bin of throw out pawpaws and give them that, and pawpaw seeds are a natural dewormer, so they don't seem to have any dramas with them. I'm just free ranging the goats here at the moment because there's not a lot of feed left in their paddock. The wet season's only just started, so it's just starting to grow back. I'm just giving it a bit of a break so it grows up a bit quicker. Let them out into this block here for a bit. I'm just going to give the cows some ivermectin at the moment. Haven't done it for 6 months or so. Got a bit of a population of guinea fowl here as well. There's normally big packs of them rather than just 2 on their own like that, but yeah, I do eat a few of them now and then, not very often. They're something you've got to put in the slow cooker. They're a bit tough, not like normal bought chicken, and they're a bit strange, probably because they walk around a lot and don't fly. The wings and the breasts are white meat like chicken, and the legs are red meat, which is a bit odd. Some birds are like that though. I think sandhill cranes and some of those big birds are more of a red meat. This is my first producing date palm. I grew this from seed. It's just got the first dates on it now after about 10 years. They're just starting to ripen. They start out green and then they go yellow. When they're fully yellow, I'll pick a few and dry them out. I haven't tried it yet because I don't think they're ripe enough. That's a custard apple. I forgot about that. That's another. Got a couple of those trees. Kumquat. They're not much good for anything apart from jam, really. You can eat them just like that, but they're a bit sour. These are the abiu. It's been producing prolifically at the moment. That's why they're just going rotten on the tree. We've picked as many as we can eat lately. They're another tropical fruit. Taste a bit caramelly. That's the seedless lychee tree. It's not producing yet, obviously. It's only young. I've got another lychee tree over in the corner over there. I didn't put a net on it this year. You've got to net them or the birds just get them all. 3 mulberry trees. The one in between is a Rollinia, which is like a South American custard apple. I've just started producing them commercially, actually. I've only put in 300 trees. Those and jackfruit and soursop. Those 3 things are a new experiment I'm doing with marketable fruit. Just starting to produce now, so I'm not sure how viable they're going to be yet. Another thing I produce is dragon fruit. If you've never seen them grown before, this is them. They're a cactus. That one there's split open from too much water, but there's quite a few on there at the moment. They're very quick. They go from flower to ripe fruit in a few days or a week. So yeah, they produce like that 3 or 4 times a year. I've got a couple of different varieties. That one's just red inside. This one here is red, white inside. And there's a yellow one somewhere which I don't think is producing yet. One thing I don't produce much of myself is veggies, because well, I don't really eat a lot of veggies myself anyway. I've got some sweet potatoes growing in here. The veggie garden's a bit of a mess at the moment because I don't get much time this time of year. I'm pretty busy with the farm. There's a few chilies and a couple other. This is actually edible, that big tree there, and the bush here. asparagus growing in a line here. There's a bay leaf tree. There's a few herbs and bits and pieces. I grow a lot of my own herbs as well. But veggies I'm not big on. They're a lot of work for not much. I'd hate to be a vegetarian. I don't know how people choose to do that on their own. Also got 300 avocado trees, or maybe not quite anymore. A lot of them have died. They don't like the wet season up here. If they sit in water, they just turn their toes up like that one. There's a pile of dead ones in the corner of the goat paddock there. Yeah, there was originally 5 or 6 trees growing here when we bought the place. They're still there, but it's a bit of a failed experiment. I was going to produce them commercially, but they take too much spraying. You got to spray them every week or 10 days for fruit spotting bug, which is quite a harsh chemical you got to use there. So yeah, it's not really worth it the way the market's gone on avocados. There's too many gone in the last 10-15 years in Australia. No real window for good prices anymore, so I've basically abandoned them. I still keep them going with water and a bit of fertiliser. There's a guy that does the markets on the weekends, comes and gets them because they're pretty much organic. Yeah, you get a lot of marks and deformities from fruit spotting bug, but if you sort through them, you can find enough good ones to sell. So this model dam at the top of the property here, I put 200 red claw in it a couple of years ago because it was full of weed. They've cleared that all out. Not a weed left in it, I don't think. I did have some barra as well, but I had a main line bust while I was away one weekend, and the dam emptied out, and red claw all walking down the paddock there. My barra were all dead on the bank, so that was a bit unfortunate. Oh, they wouldn't have tasted any good from a muddy dam like this anyway, but it was would have been good fun to catch them now and then. But anyway, the red claw population is thriving. I'm going to chuck a couple of pots in. I'll just put them in overnight. Bit of dry dog food in there, and should have half a bucket full by tomorrow morning. Even though half of them got let out when the pipe busted, there's still a pretty good population in here. They seem to breed up pretty well. Morning. Well, time to have a look, see what we got in the traps. Yeah, not a bad little haul. 2, 4, 6, 7. About 9 decent sized ones, and a fair few little midgets that I'll chuck back in. Oh, this one not quite as well. Oh, there's one monster. 3 others. He's lost his claws. He's a bit small anyway. That's a big boy. Not the biggest, but good size. Chuck these little fish back in. Oh, not bad. Half a bucket full. Alright, I'll chuck them in the freezer. Got a couple of batches of sausages I want to make today, so I'll go and do that, and then I might eat them for lunch, cook them up. I've got a good chili coconut cream and lime recipe for red claw, quite nice. Yeah, so most of the meat that we eat is is not bought at the moment in the freezer. I've got deer, pig, rabbit, horse, all from what I've shot, and then we've got beef and lamb and goat from the animals I produce here, and red claw obviously. So we've got quite an array of meat that we eat, and don't have to buy any of it, and you know it doesn't have any hormones or vaccines or any of the other shit they put in commercial meat these days. Yeah, and hasn't been fed on processed bullshit, so it's a lot healthier. Yeah, and I enjoy growing or hunting it. Just gonna throw this in here. Not sure if anyone's interested. It's the first time I've harvested a flow hive. I've had this for about a year now. Beehive, but it's just a turnkey instead of the extruder. I used to have a normal hive, but it got destroyed by hive beetles. This little goat is probably going to get bitten here. Yep. Not the best place to be, mate. It's been bottle fed, this one, so it's following me around. Anyway, this is the first time I've tried this flow hive. It's an Australian invention actually. They've all filled up. We're out of winter now, so they don't need the honey for reserves, so I'm giving it its first run, and it seems to be going quite well. A lot easier than pulling out all the frames and putting them through the extruder like a conventional hive. The first time I caught a wild swarm and put them in this hive, they all took off again a couple of days later. Some people reckon they don't like the plastic because the frames are plastic, but this swarm here has stayed in there for a year and seemed to be doing well. I'll need another jar here. Oh, they're not too angry. I gave them a little bit of smoke just before I started, but they don't seem too angry at all. Goat doesn't seem bothered. Got a few pigs in the pen just over there. They don't seem too phased either. I made the mistake of harvesting the other hive one time without giving them any smoke. Just thought the soot would protect me, and yeah, it didn't. Somehow there was that many of them, they got through the soot. I got stung quite a few times, and the poor old pigs in that pen there just got hammered. So for you amateur beekeepers like myself, use smoke. Just give you a look at how this works. So you just got this key you put in here, and it cracks open the honeycomb. The honeycomb's all made of plastic in these. That's how it works. It separates all the little hexagons in the honeycomb all the way down. And it starts draining out. When it's empty, we'll go back and from the top switch it down the other way, and it will join the combs back together. Well, there you have it. I've harvested 5 out of the 6 frames. I just left one, and I've got 15, about 17 jars once those 2 fill up. 17 half-litre jars. Yeah, 8.5 litres. Not quite as productive as a normal hive because you get 10 frames in each hive there, but it's a whole lot easier to harvest. Yeah, I recommend them if you've got the space. Good way to procure some of your own food, even if you live in town. This is a bit of a look at what I do commercially for a living that allows me the time and money to go fishing and shooting as often as I do. We grow lemons and limes. I've got 4,000 lime trees, 2,000 lemons. I'm just walking down between two blocks here. We've got limes on the left, lemons on the right, so I can show you both. These limes, the trees aren't always that small. Just before the wet season I go through and hedge them with machines, hedge them back to that size. Every second row, you can see that the row after that is tall like these lemons. Not quite as big as the lemons, but that's just, I do that so I can fit the machines down. When they get too big, they start growing in together and meeting in the middle of the row. You can't get a tractor down there to spray them anymore. So we've got to hedge them at least once a year, chop them right back. The lemons, there's quite a bit of fruit on them, which is nearly ready to pick at the moment. In fact, I would be picking here if we could pick them wet, but we can't, so we've got to wait for them to dry out a bit. Once we get a couple of days without rain, I'll send pickers in and get them on the market. They're worth good money at the moment. This time of year they always are. There's none produced down south, and the wet season up here means no one can really pick them a lot of the time either, so they're pretty scarce. The lemons, worth good money. Limes, on the other hand, you would think lemons and limes would substitute for each other, but limes are worth stuff all at the moment. They're hardly worth doing. We get a hell of a lot of them on the trees still though, so we are still picking them. Got to get them off anyway, so throw them into a box and get some sort of return for them. They're still above picking and packing cost at the moment, so they are worth doing. Might get 50 cents or $1 a box profit. Pays for some of the growing costs. Yeah, so that's what I do for a living. I grow and pick and pack these. Farming is one, I see it as a lifestyle rather than a job. You get to choose how much you put in and how much you get out. You can do more of the work yourself. I know a lot of farmers that do 15-hour days and try not to employ people, hate employing people, do as much of it as they can themselves. I'm not like that. I'd prefer to do a bit less of the work, make a bit less money, employ a few more people, but have a lot more free time to go and do other things that I love. I don't really have a passion for farming. It's something I grew up with, something I know well, but it's not. Yeah, my dream is to get paid to go hunting and fishing, so hence the channel.